Have I ever felt that? I mean, it's actually.
Why are we covering this? Have you seen this?
Sometimes like, was I only just a Is that all I was cast for?
And why has this persisted, and what is it about these characters that so many people love?
But I loved most penguin in that film. Definitely the most hand penguin in this film.
And I wanted to find a way to do something fresh and new with it, and there was something in that said to me, okay, I think that's my Batman.
Welcome to Gotham City. Today we are honored to have the Batman, Robert Pattinson, and Catwoman, Zoë Kravitz, the Riddler, Paul Dano,
Hi there.
the Penguin, Colin Farrell, and director Matt Reeves.
请开始你的表演，这个是访问你想知道的都有。
Yeah, you heard him. Don't screw it up. Don't screw it up.
The Batman movie has always been attracting attention. So how did you become the director of this movie?
I became the director because Warner Brothers came to me while I was finishing the last Planet of the Apes movie that I was doing. They approached me about doing it, and I've loved the character since I was a kid. And I was very passionate about the character, and I wanted to find a way to do something fresh and new with it so that you could have the kind of thrilling spectacle of what you expect with a Batman film, but in a new way, and in something that felt psychological and scary, thrilling. That I wanted there to be horror aspects of it. I wanted to combine so many different genres into one movie, and they were very excited that was what I wanted to do.
And how did you choose Robert Pattinson as new Batman?
And when I was writing, one of the conceptions was that we would see a year 2 version of Batman, and that he would be in early days. So I needed to look for a younger actor, and I started looking at films by Rob Pattinson, and I was so taken by his ability to transform from role to role. He was always completely different. And then I saw this one film by the Safdie brothers called Good Time, in which he plays a very driven, intense character who's also very vulnerable, actually, behind the eyes. And there was something in that performance that said to me, okay, I think that's my Batman. And I wrote for him, not knowing whether or not he'd even want to be Batman. Fortunately, it turned out that he did want to be Batman, and we worked together. It was a great experience.
You once said that the filming process was unforgettable and lonely. Can you tell us why you feel lonely?
Well, I mean, I didn't feel lonely as a real person, just as the character. I mean, the character itself, he's kind of, I mean, he has a lot of problems having personal relationships, like whether they're romantic or just like a friend. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of friends. And also just the nature of, someone who's just living their life for an ideal, and they're trying to hold themselves to higher standards. I mean, it always feels lonely, and he's kind of, his whole life saying, I want to be a one-man army against every single criminal in the world. I mean, it's a lonely existence. And also, when we're on set, I mean, it's kind of, you put that mask on, you can't hear anything anyone's saying, and so eventually people just stop talking to you because you're just.
That's what Val Kilmer said. It's so sad.
So Zoe, have you ever felt under pressure playing Catwoman?
Yes, I felt a lot of pressure. And, not only from the fans, but from myself, and I think the most difficult part was really kind of forgetting about the idea of Catwoman and really trying to play Selina as as a character, as any other character. And I think a lot of that work was thankfully done for me, because the script was so specific and grounded and really explores her backstory. And I don't think we've seen this version of Selina before, where we really get to understand who she is and where she's come from.
This is the first time in 25 years that the Riddler has been in the center of the Batman movie. So how did you play the mysterious Riddler villain in your way?
And that's this character in this city, Gotham. It's been so powerful in our culture for so long, and the only thing to do with it is to keep reinterpreting it. And why has this persisted, and what is it about these characters that so many people love? So I felt really fortunate to have the chance to reinterpret the Riddler with Matt and with all the other wonderful collaborators. And the first thing Matt and I talked about was that maybe there was something about the two sides of trauma between hero and villain, and that Batman is born of trauma, and so is the Riddler. So that emotional seed is really the the place that everything grew from.
Your version of Penguin is called the most handsome penguin. So how did you create your version?
That's a bit of a slight on everyone else, isn't it? I wouldn't have thought of him. I wouldn't have thought of him in terms of. I didn't think he was calendar ready. But I loved the most handsome penguin in that film. Definitely the most handsome penguin in this film. Definitely. But I grew up watching Burgess Meredith, very handsome man, in the TV show. And then, I mean, Danny DeVito's makeup might have been even a little bit harsher than mine. I don't know, but it was fun for me to. This felt like a unique take on the character. It didn't feel recognizable from any of the penguins that I had enjoyed as a fan of this world, you know. So it was lovely to not feel that I had to compete with, or I had to, you know, be new just for the sake of being new, or different for the sake of being different. The character was designed in the script in a unique way and was very grounded. And then when I saw the work that Mike Marino, the makeup artist, did, it was really thrilling actually, just to be able to get inside that makeup and play around.
During this filming, you did massive makeup for the character. How do you think those affected your role as Penguin?
The makeup, I think, was a lot of it for me. I mean, Mike Marino took, they started off, it took 4 hours in the morning, the process of putting all the makeup on. I didn't put on any weight, that was a suit, that was a bodysuit. But I think a lot of that, it just did a lot of the work for me. It was such a strong look. The costume, the suit, the hair, the makeup, it was such a strong look that I really felt like a lot of the work was done for me before I even uttered a word,
World's Greatest Detective is back.
Yes.
Anything you want to share with us?
Well, I mean, I think that was the thing that I thought presented an opportunity to be really definitive and distinctive from any of the films that had been done before. Because in the comics, he really did begin as the world's greatest detective, and a lot of the comics exploit that. There's one called The Long Halloween by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale that's basically a series, like as this movie is, a series of murders and a series of crimes that all these clues are left behind, and Batman is trying to solve it and put the puzzle together bit by bit. And I felt that none of the movies had really exploited this idea of doing a kind of serial killer thriller. And so to lean into that side, I felt was an opportunity to not only show that part of the character, but to use the trail of trying to sort of uncover the source of this crime to describe an entire city and why this city turned out to be the scary place that it was. And also to eventually lead to the history of Batman and Bruce himself, so that it would become not just a case that he was trying to solve, but something that was an awakening for him, so that he became very personally involved. And so that particular aspect of the character, him being a detective, allowed for that exploration in a way that had never been utilized before. So I was excited about that.
You wear the mask most of the time in the movie. Have you ever felt that the mask covers your handsome face?
Have I ever felt that? I mean, it's actually.
Why are we covering this? Have you seen this?
I know, it's kind of. It makes you feel sometimes like, was I only just a chin? Is that all I was cast for?
People love the chin. Robert Chin Pattinson.
It's kind of cool. I mean, it's interesting to watch a movie when I don't really recognize myself in the movie, which is kind of, it's really nice. I mean, I could probably watch, if a few years went past and I kind of lost my memory a little bit more, then I'd be like, oh, I'm just watching a Batman movie. That's the worst answer.
Is this the hardest movie you have ever done?
For sure. Doing a Batman movie, first of all, we did a Batman movie during a pandemic. I mean, anyone making a movie during a pandemic will tell you that that was an unexpected curveball, and that made things harder than you could ever imagine. But that aside, just making a Batman movie, knowing that the character is so beloved, he's existed for 80 years and has been a favorite for 80 years, and trying to find a way to do your own, and to do a detective story where there's so much intricate detail. I wanted the movie to be like a Hitchcockian thriller. I wanted there to be a lot of suspense, and the level of sort of meticulous shot making and having to show you each clue and each detail and how all of that connects, the sort of building out of that intricate sort of narrative to bring you along on this experience and still give you thrills and have you have the spectacle of the action, of the chase scene, of the Batmobile. I mean, they're doing a Batmobile chase. That's super hard. So all of it is very, very challenging.
You and Rob have been friends for many years. What kind of person he is in private? Did he complain to you about life or his work?
LOL.
Yes.
Yeah, constantly
Constantly
complaining,
complaining.
calling me, FaceTiming me, complaining. I'm Batman. They only want me for the chin. It was just exhausting. No, I mean, I think we were both really excited, and we would kind of geek out together about how cool it was that we got to do this movie, and to do it together is, was so fun. And I think, I've always wanted to work with Rob, so it was amazing.
Rob and Zoe, what would you most like to do when you come to China?
Ooh. I want to eat a lot of food, that's for sure.
There was this thing somebody told me about, which I really want to do, where it's people making, what was it?
Oh boy.
It's like miniature. Oh, Megan, do you remember what that thing was? Is
it like miniature food?
It's miniature instruments or something.
Oh, that's cool.
But I saw this, I watched this video about it. Oh god, I need to find out what it was.
Oh my
But it's
God.
like this whole subculture where people are making like mini instruments, and it's like the coolest
And they
thing.
work?
Yeah, it's the
Oh,
coolest
that's
thing
really
I've ever
cool.
seen.
That's really
And so it's kind of a random thing to do in China, but I definitely saw it. And also, what's the little village which they used where they shot a bit of Transformers? And do you know what I'm talking about? It's in the countryside somewhere. It's the most beautiful. It's crazy. I used to see pictures of it, and I always wanted to go there on vacation. But then I since found out that Transformers shot there. Now it's like a massive tourist destination.
To Chinese fans, oh my goodness, yes, hello. It's nice to talk to you, and I'm so excited for you guys to see this film. The passion around the Batman. We care about you, and we care about the fans, and I hope you will enjoy.